Hashtag get better. I see that on our rundown for Buzz Williams. Welcome into TexAgs Rewind presented by Yeti. Buzz Williams on the show, always really, really good. I'm David Nuno, by the way. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Jared, usually you have Tom Hart to talk about, but what was your favorite part of the show today?
I mean, definitely going to be Buzz. I just love the way that Buzz talks about his players, just honesty, transparency. I feel like a lot of coaches don't talk a lot about kind of insider things with the team. They just kind of leave it a secret. Buzz kind of lets us in on what's going on in the program, so I love that.
Yep, there was a buzz in the air here on the program. That was really Olin-ish. Bob Sturm from 1310 The Ticket in Dallas joined the program. He had some really good thoughts on Jimbo, on the program, where they should go next. Really enjoyed our conversation with him. J-Lo, John Lopez, a great Aggie, joined the show as well from Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Got the Dallas perspective, got the Houston perspective, and of course, Olin Buchanan was here on the program. Why did I say it like that? Well, because I'm trying to be Louie here on the show. That and more, check out the TexAgs Rewind. Let's play the game of candidates. Okay. So we're not going to go through every candidate, and the ones that we focus on today does not mean that these are the top 3 names, right?
Okay.
If you are a premium subscriber, Billy had a great write-up, I think on Friday, and he basically mentioned a lot of names that they've either been interested in talking to, will talk to, or you could see a scenario where they would talk based on what happens over the next week or two, right?
Yeah.
And we did Luchador yesterday. I think Billy still feels pretty confident that a hire could be made by a week from today.
Well, he said that he didn't think it'd be out of the question that the guys know who the coach is when they're playing LSU.
LSU, yeah. So throw out a couple names and just kind of talk about the yay and the nay. Okay. Mike Elko
Yay!
is a yay for many people. Some people have soured on him because of the way Duke has fizzled down the stretch. Also playing without Riley Leonard for a big chunk of the season. That makes a difference. And he also, I think only 4 times in Duke's history have had 9 wins. He has one of those.
He's at Duke.
Yeah.
What do you expect? He's at Duke. Other than John Wayne and Ellington, when do you ever hear anything good about Duke?
Basketball.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
okay. Krzyzewski. You got to get a coach that nobody's name nobody can spell his name.
Not even his parents.
And like you said, they've got they're down to their backup quarterback at Duke.
He's young. He's 46.
I don't have an issue with Elko. I kind of like it.
I like Elko as well.
Yeah.
I do. There's a couple names I'm going to throw at you that I'm very intrigued. This is not Luch speak, decoding, just the more research I do.
I wonder if anyone would say, is Elko the best coach at Duke? If I was talking to a Duke guy, is he their best coach since Spurrier? Now, somebody might say, oh, David Cutcliffe did some great things, and Johnny Football had to go crazy to beat him. But Elko's had 2 solid seasons in a row at Duke.
Yeah, see, what I worry about is getting a guy who's had 1 year, right? Because there's a lot of those guys like, oh, we got to get this guy. He's had 1 big year.
I think Mike McIntyre, when he was at Colorado, they won 10 games. They went to a BCS bowl, one of the better bowl games.
Yep.
And the next year they're right back to where they always were, and he got fired, moved on. So I know what you're saying.
But this guy I'm about to bring up is a 1-year guy.
1-year wonder.
But I'm really intrigued.
I'm intrigued to hear who yours.
Jedfish.
Well, one of the best things I saw all week last week was they approached Dan Campbell. Reports are that they approached Dan Campbell. That's where I am. Don't ask, don't get. So you got to ask. Make people tell you no. I don't care who it is. If it's Jeff Traylor, look, I think everybody's going to have an opinion on, okay, that's a guy I really like, and certainly I have some that I think personally could be the answer. But I think beyond that is you got to beat the bushes, man. You got to go from and I'm not saying I know anything on these names, but they've been mentioned out there, from the Dabo Samuels from the Dabos to the Ryan Days, all the way to the Jeff Traylors. Old, young, it doesn't matter. Ask everyone and see if you can't strike gold.
What do you want to hear from the head coach? Not necessarily in a press conference, but if you're interviewing him, what is the thing that will make John Lopez be like, that's the guy?
Well, there are a lot of people, and I've spoken with a lot of people over at A&M and in the department and such, as I'm sure you have, and even some people close to the Board of Regents. And I hear something. There's a common thread. They have to, quote, get A&M. They have to be a part of A&M. They have to understand what it is and how it works and the people and why it's important to be part of that Aggie community. I got to tell you, and maybe this isn't going to, endear me with a lot of Aggies. I really don't care. I really don't care. This is a whole different world. It's a whole different age. Get a guy in here that is going to be and get the A&M football, winning when the NIL age, winning in the transfer portal age. It's great if you do have an Aggie and they get it. But I don't think that's necessarily a top priority. A top priority to me is understanding the era in which we live. I was kidding around with some friends over the weekend because I get asked about it all the time, as I'm sure you do. They said, don't you want like an Aggie? Don't you want a good guy? Don't you want a guy that gets it and is well liked? I said, at this point, I don't care.
Man, you go through it in your head and you talk yourself into many directions. That's probably where I'm at right now. The more people I talk to, the more my head sort of spins on, what the right route is. I certainly think that trying to get the splash name is short-sighted. I do think that certainly I want somebody who knows what they're doing and has a bit of a reputation and kind of knows what goes into it. And so there is some reluctance to just kind of turn it over to somebody who's never really done it before, especially at this level. But, you kind of got to pick a lane, don't you? You can't say, I want a guy with a sterling resume who has done it and continues to prove that he can win at this level, but then not risk kind of the game passing them by. So you need to strike that perfect balance of modern beliefs, staying on top of the modern game, understanding how things are changing and how we can't be allergic to fourth downs and things of that nature. And at the same time, I want this guy to have a perfect 20-year resume. So if I had to lean one way or the other, and I know I'm all over the board here, but I would probably say, get me a guy who I think understands how college football is won these days. And I know that's vague, but I think we all kind of know what that means, both in-game and roster building. And then, of course, the most important thing is, can you run a program of this magnitude and sort of have good answers for all of the questions that, frankly, went unanswered here in the last couple of years. I think with this program is like, oh, well, who's doing this and why do we do this and just all these things. And at times it seemed frustrating that either the answer wasn't satisfactory or there was no real answer.
Just start things off 4-0, a couple years in a row, some tough shooting stretches. But how are you feeling overall with the way your team is responding through some adversity and still winning games?
I think they've been great. I'm a little partial to our guys, so I'm probably the best guy to ask. I think to play 2 road games out of 4 and only have 2 home games in November, I know that that's a lot that most people don't see, but I don't even think that we've played great in some ways, but that we played good enough and had a maturity about us, whether we've been at home or on the road, to be able to win. Says a lot about the group of our guys.
It does say a lot about it. I do want to bring up Wade here because shooting-wise, he hasn't hit the numbers that we're used to seeing. That being said, I got a note here that he's one of 3 players nationally averaging double-figure points while accumulating at least 15 assists, 10 steals, 10 rebounds, and 10 free throws. The guy makes things happen in multiple areas.
Yeah, he's just hard to take off the floor. He'll shoot it just fine. And whether he's shooting it really well or really poor, he's still the engine that runs our team, and he impacts the game not only statistically but also just with his spirit and the relationship that he has as the leader amongst our group. And so I think that he's going to be played different. I think he's the first guy mentioned on the scouting report, and I think that that's all new to him. But his ability to be able to work through all of that and be able to do so many other things besides just score, that's the sign of a really good player who's also very mature.
All right, Jared, I know you only got a couple more shows left before you got to go be an adult and stuff and go to Christmas break and do whatever you're going to do. What do we have to do after we watch the rewind?
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any TexAgs content.
Thank you very much. We will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, next time.